Good morning. Good very early morning. How we doing today, my friends? Deadline day. We are live. 5 in the morning for me. 5 in the morning. It's early. But we're here. We're ready. It's time. It's been a busy morning. It's been a busy morning already. I knew with a slightly earlier end to the window as well, that everything would kind of be popping off. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get early sleep and be ready to go. And just pop right in and talk about it. Yesterday, it was very much up in the air, this keeper thing. And I was like, making my charts and doing all of this right now, getting ready for this thing here. Simon, welcome, Simon. Thank you. Getting ready for this deal to come in, and I was like, am I gonna be able to say Lammens yet? Are we gonna still be talking about Emi Martinez and all of that? But here we are. Yesterday, we had basically on this whole keeper thing, we had this offer in for Lammens, but from my side, what I kept hearing, and I think I shared in the video as well as on Saturday, is that there was still something on the personal terms side on the Lammens deal, essentially, that was holding it up. I kept hearing that. I kept saying that. And I think that was the biggest problem we had there. So when I woke up and we saw from Laurie that the personal terms have been agreed, I had a feeling this one was going to be done. Jason with 10 gifted memberships to the community. Here we freaking go. Thank you very much for all of your support. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. But we're here. We're ready. So that was that. But they were serious. Yesterday was like, we're getting a keeper. No matter what, we're getting a keeper. It's done. We're getting a keeper. Then yesterday in the afternoon, I got a message that Martinez was more likely at a certain point, but expected that, obviously this is like everything is still up in the air. And that was simply because the deal with Antwerp and Lammens was still there was still some haggling going on. They were still talking to both, though. Then, as I went to sleep last night, essentially what I'd heard was they were near to some kind of agreement for Emi Martinez, but they still had a bid for Lammens, and they're expected to push ahead with one more directly in the morning. And then when the personal terms were done, I figured that's it. So, yeah, I think this Emi Martinez deal was really close, frankly. I think it was close as well to happening here, but Lammens was always the preferred one for the long term. Always the preferred one for the long term, because we wanted this young up and coming keeper. How long have I been talking about this with you guys? How long have I been talking about this with you guys? This young keeper.
Why do you think we haven't targeted League One with Ineos first-hand knowledge and French clubs' need for money?
Maybe just lack of scouting in that area, Maybe just lack of scouting in that area, to be honest. Something we need to enhance a little bit. We'll talk through all the potential, all the deals, and all the outs and things like that in just a moment. Just letting everybody kind of file in here, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty details. All right. Yes, as you're here, please do make sure to like the video. It's free and it's 5 in the morning. So seriously, help me out here. I would appreciate it. Heard of Lammens from you in December last year. Yeah, he's been He and James Trafford were the two main names that United have looked at for the past 12 months for a keeper. Lammens and James Trafford. Last year, we looked at Trafford in September. He wanted guarantees he'd be the first keeper. We weren't willing to give him to him at that time. We kept maintaining conversation, and in
Does
the
not
end,
doing Martinez deal means Sancho comes back?
no, Sancho's still going. They're not tied together. Worried about Lammens coming in straight as
Worried
number
about
one.
Lammens coming straight in as number 1.
It can't be worse than what we've got, dude. Honestly, it can't be worse than what we've got. But we spoke to Trafford for a long time. Then in March, he ended up having a meeting with us and Man City, and Man City told him they wanted to sign him. They have all those deals and options and all that, and he accepted them. Kevin Coley, thank you for 10 memberships to the community as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that very, very, very much. We're not going to get both right now. Then Lammens was the other one we've been watching since November, December, and it was decided we wanted to get that young keeper to come in and compete. Now, following that, the way you said no loudly to this question. Following that, of course, the keeping has been so bad. It's been so bad that it's not really just about the competition anymore, is it? Whoever we were bringing in is coming in as number 1. But obviously, sticking with their normal plan, sticking with the general consensus of direction on where they want to go. They want to get players that are here for the future, Martinez was but a good option, in my opinion, someone that I like. I think he'd be very good. I like Emi Martinez. I do. I think he would have solved some of our biggest problems. But Lammens is a much better deal for the long term. And I think he's got the potential to be, of course, a significantly better keeper. That's for sure. There's a report in Spain that says we've inquired with Conor Gallagher's management about a season-long loan. We want a loan with no obligation. Let's see if anybody else reports that. Let's see if anybody else reports that, okay? Because I will be there. I will be there for a Conor Gallagher loan, but we'll come back to that.
Don't like this deal at all. Another young player. We are becoming child play FC. You still need experienced players.
Jason, but hold on a second. Cunha and Mbeumo are experienced players. Šeško is not really a kid. Lammens is young and inexperienced. No doubt about that, of course. I hear you on that. But look at what we've got. Look at what we've got in net, and look at what the experience is doing for us. Nothing. They're making mistakes every single week, and I want a solution for years for the keepers. How many years have we had problems with the keepers? Since De Gea's decline about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Since De Gea's decline, kind of in that season where he started screwing up, it's been bad, man. It's been bad. And we haven't had a goalkeeper who commands his box like ever. You know what I mean? Like literally ever. So it's okay. And when we look at the profile of Lammens, let me just pull some stuff up here. Yeah, we're not going to go for Martinez as well. Okay, that's for sure. 21 million plus 4 million in add-ons, 5-year contract. I still find it so funny. Why do they keep insisting that a goalkeeper was not on our radar? Until Arsenal, it's just not true. We've been tracking Lammens for 12 months. It's very funny. It is. It's the funniest narrative. I don't know why it keeps being said that we were not looking for a goalkeeper. We've been looking for a goalkeeper all summer, man. We've been looking for a goalkeeper for such a long time.
CDM.
I don't think so, man. Like, if you're asking me today, today, this is the last day. If you're asking me this second, if you're asking me right this second, I don't think we'll get a midfielder.
James, your midfield ID is terrible. First Ugarte, now Gallagher.
No. Ugarte and Gallagher are not similar, though. Ugarte and Gallagher are not similar. Gallagher is like Mason Mount in the midfield. I would take him on a loan. I just look at our options. They can't run. We have one player who can run in Ugarte, and he's playing like very poorly. We need some guys who can run sometimes. Sometimes you just need people who can run. All right? You just need guys who can run sometimes, and we don't have that. Our athleticism in the midfield is crazy bad. That's funny. Someone's got pictures here of Lammens' plane flying over their house.
Anything on new midfielder, boss?
No, brother. I right now, like, obviously I'm keeping my mind open, and I apologize if you hear my phone buzzing because it's sitting in front of me and I'm looking in case I get any sort of message about a midfielder thing being real, but nothing as of
Martinez
yet. No Martinez.
And we ship out Bain didn't own an art.
We're not going to do both. We're not going to do both. We're not getting Martinez as well. Lammens is the guy. Lammens is the guy. He's been our main guy we've wanted for a while. He was supposed to be done earlier this week.
For me, should have got the GK way before we actually lost points because
Sure,
of it,
I
and
agree
no
with that.
midfielder. Kuna and Mumo elite signings too.
Yeah, look, I don't think 6 out. We'll contextualize it. I want to contextualize it. I think 6 out of 10s is a little bit low when you look at the quality of the signings. When you look at it in the picture, you get your future striker, you get a top 10, you get another top 10, and you get your future goalkeeper. In terms of a window, in theory, we've done really, really well. Now, if you're trying to measure that, like, there's two different ways you can look at the window. You can say, what are all the things that we need, and how good did we do at getting that done? Okay? And then you can look at the window and say, well, what did we get done in a vacuum? Right? In terms of everything we needed to get done, we were never going to get it all done in one window because we couldn't. We had just too much to do, unfortunately, without Europe, right? That's, I think that, unfortunately, that would be rating the present based on our poor performance in the past. If you look at this window on its own, top young striker, Cunha, 2 top forwards, and a top young goalkeeper, it's one of the best windows we've ever had. Now you can say, well, yeah, but we needed a midfielder. Sure, but we needed too many things. We've spent 200-something million and cleaned house. It's one of, if not the best window we've had in 15 years.
Which keeper is heading out?
Which keeper's heading out? I don't know. I don't know if either, but Turkey's window's open, so I imagine maybe one will go out on loan. Like, I don't contextualize it compared to everything that we've needed, because how could you? Like, our team has been built so poorly. We needed so many things. it's well set up for United to complete their business next year, if you understand me. Like, we've never been in a position where you could look at the team and say, next summer, you can see the end. You can see the end. You can see where we're going. Because if you go get 2 midfielders and a center back next summer, maybe a wing back, you can say, what else do we actually need? And nothing else is particularly certain that we would even need anything next summer. So in that sense, I think it's a much, much better window. Essentially, we have signed 4 starters here, right? So we could have gotten lower quality players and signed more, but I'm not sure we should have done that. I'm not sure we should. Buwadi on loan with option to buy. We can't sign him till January, but keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. And there's January. Let's not forget. Let's look at some stuff here. Hold on one second, guys. Let's look at some stuff here in just a moment. So Lammens, done. In. Finito. Now, I want to look at something. I want to just show you guys some of the monster math here on all of this, okay? One sec. Let me pull it up. And then we'll talk through some of the players because there's other things happening, right? Here. All right. Here's some of the math on the savings, okay? With the deals out, sales, some losses, but some amortizations saved, some wages saved. Our total amount of money saved this year, right now.
Gotta give credit to management for the way they conducted business and stopped leaks.
Yep.
Journalists reporting our deals late. Also a reason why I'm optimistic about a mid-cooking still, even if loan.
I'm not optimistic there, but we'll see. We saved about 78.8 million this fiscal year on the books compared, and I'm not talking about the free agents who departed, but we saved 78.8 million. I didn't add in Rashford. It's more. 78.8 plus 18. We saved 96.8 million. We saved 96.8 million from the bomb squad and Hojlund. 96.8 million, and we still have the potential for more money to come out. We still have the potential for more savings to be done. That's our savings this year, right now. We've only added 69.6 million this year. That represents a positive of 27 million in the transfer market on the books. Now, you might say, who cares? Well, yeah, to a degree, who cares? Hopefully, what this means is in the future, we don't have to care. It means that we don't have to worry about the finances anymore, that we don't have to put ourselves in this position, because what we've done here is, with all the cost cutting, the savings, all of that, and a year without Europe. And there's the, oh my God, and there's the sell-on clauses. Realistically, and then if you add in, I think we made about 20 in sell-on clauses. So you're talking about 116.8. Realistically, United probably made about 50 million positive in the market this window. You know, Real Saya, you know, it doesn't matter. But for what it's worth, like, either it's going to be a lower loss and less amortization saved, or whatever. It's going to balance.
Hi,
that's
James,
why I did that. It doesn't really matter
super
when.
chat. Thanks for all your streams and updates this summer. What a great window thus far. Lol Q. Do you think Glazers will sell to SJR?
Thank you for that donation. I think there will be something at some point once we get further into the stadium project. I'm not sure exactly what yet, but yes, I do think there'll be something at some point. Besides when the stadium project moves forward. So besides the free agents, we've probably gained about 50 million this year, and we've saved 44.55 million for next year. And if we can sell Rashford next year, it would be something like, so we've saved 50 million net gain this year, and we could potentially gain another 100 million before next summer even starts, because we've gained this 44 off the book. We've already saved 44 off the books for next one. We could save another 50 million from Rashford if we sell and if we sell and save his wages again next year. So realistically, we can essentially, we don't know all the quarterly maths and things like this, but when the financials come out later this month for the end of the year, I think we'll look at it, and then I can compare it to PSR and all that. I think we'd be able to, if we can get back into Europe, guys, I think we can be doing whatever we want. I think this could be the last time we've got to sit here and worry about, United, what they can do, what they can spend. Obviously, that, you can't be unsuccessful for a long time. But yeah, 8 out of 10 so far. Fair. I'm good with that. But United have done it right so far. So good so far. And even if we don't get somebody today, listen to me. I said this like a week ago. I stand by it, and I'm sure of it. And we could buy someone in January.
Bro, I get it's a rough estimate, but with these savings, how much roughly can we spend next summer?
Yes, thank you, Tubby, and thank you, Masher, for the membership. It depends if we get Europe. If we get back into Europe, I've got to do the math, but when I looked at, I need the next quarterlies, honestly. I need the yearlies. But based on the savings that we'd seen on the math I'd done so far, I wouldn't be surprised if we had if we make it into, if we have this year a break even. Last year, almost a break even, means we could spend quite a lot.
Long-term keeper not Emmy equals Ineos faith in Ruben?
Probably oranges, but I think that I would think of it more like we have to be slightly manager agnostic in our recruitment, so we don't ever end up in this situation again, even if a manager's to leave, that we don't keep redoing all of this, okay? It's a club-led recruitment. That's the more important thing. But realistically, I think you could look at it and say, next summer, if we can get into Europe and then you sell Rashford, I think we could do I think we could do at least 250 million net. Welcome, Stretford Ender. Thank you, buddy. But yeah, there is something to note here. There is something to note here, and that is, of course, in January, we can do business. We can do business in January. Let me poll you guys on this question. Did you prefer we can do business in January, and I can tell you that it's being thought of already, okay? Not just we can, it is being thought of already that we can do business in January. There is a feeling that we could do business in January. I feel like this poll may be a little tilted after it's already done, but still. I just was curious. And by the way, while we're here,
don't go full Ineos PR on me about Jan.
It's not PR. It's the truth. I said it a week ago. I said it a week ago, and I stand by it. With the money that's been saved and the deals that have been done, there's money to spend in January, and they're willing to do it if they see a good opportunity for a long-term signing, like they did with Patrick Dorgu, and they feel like it'll help us in our pursuit of our end-of-season goals, which is to get back into Europe. That's the most important thing. Lammens will be first choice. I think he'll be first choice right off the bat. I honestly think that's why we did it. That's why we've done it so quickly now. No choice in the matter. Got to happen. Got to happen.
Why Jan and not now?
Why Jan and not now? Because of time. We may not just may not have the time, essentially. We may not have the time to get the deal over the line. Anything else over the line there. Okay, so about 73-27 in terms of yeah. Cool. But yeah, so that's very good. Let's look at Lammens really quickly here in terms of his numbers, okay? Yeah, McGrath's very, very good. McGrath's been spot on so many things here. What Lammens is very good at is, I mean, practically everything that we need from a keeper. Remember what Ruben Amorim and this team want from a keeper right now, and what they're not getting is good saves, safe hands.
Rebuild is not possible in one window, especially if we were out of cash. 8/10 window, but if we can get C. Gallagher, I would be amazed. Any chance?
I don't know if that Conor Gallagher thing is real or not. I just do know he was somebody people liked. Well, I'm not going to say more right this second on Garnacho and Rashford. We're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it for now. But look, there's not much more I can say on this except that I but I'm pretty strongly certain from everything I heard that a fair bit of the stuff that, Rashford had a lot of concerns about a lot of stuff that kept leaking about him, some true, some not, from the club for quite a long time. And if you were looking for where some of that was coming from, it would make me very surprised if he and Garnacho got on. Let's just put it that way. Let's look. So in terms of Lammens, let me get rid of this. Crosses stopped, 99th percentile for crosses stopped. This has essentially been our biggest issue. I mean, he's also that's impossible, isn't it? 83.3% save percentage on PKs. Wild. Well, how many penalties has he saved? Anyway, his shots on targets against is really high, but his save percentage is really high. This is crazy numbers if he's that good at penalties. There's no way he's that good at penalties. That number's not that number isn't possible, is it? That penalty stat is insane. What? Penalty kicks allowed and saved. That's insane. I have to look into that. That's insane. But yeah, his post shot expected goals minus goals against is very high. This essentially is your biggest number, which is like, yeah. No, look, Jester, for sure, 100%. He saved 5 out of 9 last season. That's fucking crazy. Onana can save penalties, can he? Because I just watched us go 12 deep against Grimsby, 13 deep against Grimsby. Okay, 13 deep against Grimsby. So anyway, but he had a good save. He's got a good save percentage. And look, XG is XG. Obviously, the quality of shooters kind of changes it a little bit. But regardless, what this number tells you is that he's saving you a lot of goals per game. He's saving you a lot of goals per game. And then you go down to, one I want to show here.
Impressive.
This tells you in terms of passing that he generally passes short. Obviously, that's almost purely stylistically. So there's little we can say about that, okay? Then there's average distance of defensive actions. What this tells you is that Lammens is not really a sweeping. He's not going to be rushing out there. He's not going to be taking a lot of risks. He's not going to be sweeping. He's not going to be doing a lot of that. But this is the biggest thing for me. This cross, he is the best in Europe in the next 14 at crosses stopped. Obviously, again, different quality of the league, but he's the right type of keeper. That's the important thing. He's the right type of keeper. We can say that the levels change, yeah, this and that, all of that, fine. But he is the right type of keeper. And he's big as well. He's quite tall. He's quite large. So we'll see how he translates that. But look, he's no slouch. I mean, he's not 19 years old either. He is 23. He's 23 years old, 6'4", very, very strong in this sense. Let me see if I can find this thing. Hold on. I want to see if I can find this thing on Data MB that shows the chart here. For goalkeepers, save percentage, prevented goals per 90. Maybe it's not in here. I had something that showed it up really well, but oh no, XG, no, I need to find I had a measure that looked really good before, but now I can't find it. Rumors for Conor Gallagher, yeah. Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at how it's gone so far. Let me ask you this question. What would happen so far if and the other factor, there is another factor, the underrated factor, is the commanding, is the talking. He's very loud, apparently. So I've heard. He's very loud. There was a measure that I had that showed Lammens and Trafford up really high, but now I don't know where it is. It was save percentage, prevented goals per 90. That's so weird. Now I can't find it. Huh. I had this thing on a chart that was showing before it was really nice. But anyway, whatever. Oh, is it previous because it's the wrong year? I don't know. Whatever. I'm getting distracted here. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Let's pull this up. On Sky, they said there's no chance of Gallagher leaving at all. Fair enough. Fair enough. We won't be in 17th in January. Open your eyes. Come on, man. We're gonna look at some stats in a minute and talk about that. But anyway, here's the chart I was kind of looking for. We had save percentage and prevented goals per 90. Here's Lammens all the way up here. Here's Trafford. These were two of the keepers that they were looking at for under 25 in all leagues. So impressive in that respect where they showed up. He commands the box. He's loud. He's vocal. He does all the right things. He's been looked at by a lot of big clubs. And we got him. And he's going to be great. So he's a United player. He's a new signing. And I'm very, very excited about him. He's been on our radar for a long time. And what's important to me, the most important thing to me that I'm looking at right now is that the most important thing to me that I'm looking at in our recruitment is there are no panic signings. There's no panic signings. Everybody that we are signing, everyone that we're signing is somebody that we've been looking at for a long time. You want me to look at that chart? So here, if you want to look at this real quick, this is Lammens versus all ages, so it's very good. This is Onana down there, and this is Emi Martinez down here. So Lammens certainly shows up better in that respect, well above the median.
He has faced 23 penalties and saved 18.
That is
0
an
errors leading to
insane
goals
stat,
in his career.
Joe.
Can't sign MF from abroad, don't have time. There's one MF in the UK who hasn't been playing well lately, as though his mind is elsewhere. Baleba.
Yep. Baleba's not been playing well, hasn't he? He's not been playing well. Yeah. I mean, look, saving penalties is crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. But what was I gonna say? The biggest thing is that we've been signing players. He saved 8, conceded 18. Fair enough. We've been signing players who we've been looking at for a long time, and I think that's really, really, really important to think about. That we've been signing players we've been looking at for ages, and ages. Right? We're not looking at players who, we just came upon them. They just got on our radar because we're in a panic. Oh, we scouted them years ago and decided they're shit, like Antony, or that we looked at them for 40 million and we paid 80 million, or, that all the things that we've done wrong in the past, we're correcting. We're not signing old players on huge contracts. We're not signing players we've previously scouted and decided aren't good enough. We're not signing players that...
Not comparing the two, but I can't shake off this feeling that this is an Alisson type signing.
I mean, it's a big improvement to me. Is his pen save higher than our corner save? It might be.
Is his pen save percent higher than our corner save percent?
It might be. But look, I mean, the reality is that point being is that you never can guarantee transfers work. You can't. But you've got to do your best. We've been doing our worst. Our transfers failing has not been like a mystery. The reason we've been signing players and they haven't been working isn't a mystery. We sign old players, past it players on huge wages. No mystery in why those fail. We sign players we looked at and said they're not good enough, like Antony. No mystery that it fails, right? We sign players we have very little data on, because the manager wanted them. That's happened on multiple occasions as well. So it's no mystery, but at least we're doing the right steps. The process, you have to take the right process to give yourself the best chance of getting good results. His 5 pen
saves last year, all 1 points. Huge.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And look, when I look at where we're at, when I look at where we're at right now, in general, when I look at where we're at in general, if you change just the keeper now, I think we probably beat Grimsby. We probably draw Arsenal, and who knows what Fulham does, right? What we would have done against Fulham. It's flying under the radar that United are actually kind of good, okay? I mean, I find it slightly amusing, but when you actually, and I said this about Fulham, I said the problem is the result against Fulham was going to dictate how people feel about the Arsenal game. And especially just like purely the end result against Fulham was going to dictate how people feel about so many different things, you know? But the truth of the matter is, United have been pretty good. Even against Fulham, it was never as bad as it was essentially being made out at the end of the day. And we can say it's just Burnley. It's just this and that. But look at the other teams and who they've faced. It's not exactly like incredible. I mean, let's look at some numbers here, you know, like in the Premier League, when you look at it, first of all, United are in what, ninth now? Ninth. Okay. Ahead of Man City, who have 2 losses. They lost to Spurs and to Brighton. You have Aston Villa, who've lost to Brentford, lost to Palace, and drew Newcastle. You have Fulham, who've drawn to us, drawn to Brighton, lost to Chelsea. Newcastle, who have 0 wins on the board, 0 goals against Leeds, another relegation candidate, 0 against Villa, who are awful this year, and a loss to Liverpool. Like, it's not that bad. Especially for the start of the season when things can be a little chaotic. And then you look at the numbers and you go, oh, wait, hold on a second. Top in XG. Interesting. Top in long balls per match, which I find kind of interesting because it's very, very much matching up to the way that Amram wants to play. Top in touches in the box by a good margin. Top in accurate crosses. Like, this team's good. This team's good. This team ain't that bad. You know, like, it's not actually that bad. We're not that terrible. You know, we're 4th in, look at we're 4th in shots on target per map, but look at our shot conversion compared to Liverpool's, for example. This is near enough unsustainable. This is pretty high. Ours is near enough unsustainably low. In fact, we probably have the worst shot conversion in the league at 6.9%. If we can even be average at finishing our shots, I think we'll be fine. We're just missing chances, man. Like, we're just missing chances. You know, there's potential here. And it's like, it is funny because you get all of this talk about how, you know, it's, you know, we don't control, we don't create chances, we only hit in transition. But however, how is that possible if we have the most touches in the opposition box? Tell me that. How can we be that bad how can we be only a counter side or only a long, only attacking fast and having no control if we also have the most touches in the opposition box? That means we are getting the ball in the right area and the most shots in the league taken. It means we're getting the ball in the right areas. We just need to be better about scoring them. I mean, we could have put 6 past Burnley. We should have scored versus Arsenal. We should have scored versus Fulham. We missed a penalty too. Cunha hit the post. He made a great save. We should have scored 2 or 3 goals. We could pass up a few shots for better shots for sure. There's some pot shots in there, but I disagree on that XG low, lots of shots thing. It's far too early in the season to make that decision. I'll give you the example. Yeah, exactly. Look, you look at Liverpool. What's the XG of that shot they score against Arsenal? Come on, man. It's 0. It's literally 0. Right? Like, come on. It's 0. We're creating better chances than a lot of teams. We are. If you take a look at, there's one, I want to use this as an example against Burnley. There was the corner, aside from the one we missed, there was the corner that Mbeumo put in, low to Bruno Fernandes at the top of the box, okay? It's a low XG chance because of where the shot is taken. It's not a low. This is where XG is shit for one shot. It's good over longer periods. It's good over multiple games to get an idea of what you're accumulating. But you take that shot from Bruno. He's open, center of the goal, top of the box, and misses the net. That's not a pot shot. That's not a bad shot, actually. It's a shot you should get on target and you should probably score. You have to contextualize all of these things, and then you look at in the reverse and you say, well, what about the shots against us? Grimsby's first goal is 0.09 XG. You know what I mean? It's like, exactly. It's like you got to contextualize all of this. Regardless, we're racking it up. I don't care how many shots we've taken, I don't care how many shots we've taken right now. On expected points, United are 5th right now. Let's see what happens after the break. But honestly, you take the keeper errors out, we're probably still in the cup, and we're probably 1 to 2 points higher in the league right now. I think we would have at least drawn Arsenal. I think it would have affected Fulham too, because you take that state at Fulham. Yeah, and the second goal was a handball, but whatever. You take the game of Fulham. There was a point in that match where they started getting a bunch of corners, a bunch of set pieces, right? And then it was like India falling over, spilling it back into their hands. And what that does, it has 2 effects. One is it constantly gives the ball back to the opposition. That's one thing that it does. The second thing that it does is it keeps dropping your defensive line deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper over and over and over again, right? And it makes them scared. So when you talk about them dropping deep, you go, yeah, it's not great. I don't like that they do that. It's one of the things that bothers me when you watch it and they just end up in a 7-man line of defenders. But you also have to look at the how and the why that you end up there. The lack of confidence that it gives your defenders when you make those kinds of mistakes. That's certainly part of it. That's certainly part of it, and that certainly affects your ability to kind of control the game and to do things like that. Yeah. It makes a big difference. I think it'll change how we play football in general. I think it'll change how we treat games when we're not losing to when we're not giving a corner into 6 more corners, that part is crazy. That part is crazy. That part is crazy. And by the way, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I'm not done. Don't worry, I'm not done. This might be my favorite news today. This might be the best thing that I've seen this morning. It makes me very happy. This is what woke me up. I just felt a disturbance. I felt like everything had been made right in the world. And I checked my phone, and Mr. Ten Hag was sacked again after just 2 league games, which is exactly what United should have done a long time ago. And I knew. This guy tried to destroy our club. This guy tried to ruin Manchester United. And Leverkusen were smart enough to say, hold on a second. This ain't the guy. This ain't the guy that should be helping rebuild this team. It ain't the guy. It's not about the departures. This is what people don't understand about Erik Ten Hag, okay? This is what people do not understand about Erik Ten Hag. Seriously, had anyone heard of Lammens? Well, yeah, me. To be fair, we've been talking about it since December. This is what people don't get about Erik Ten Hag, all right? The reports out of Leverkusen were very, very much spot on in what I told you for a long, long time. This guy sucks. He does not get on with anyone. He cannot coach a football team. Nobody likes him. Nobody can understand him. His communication skills are bottom tier. And Leverkusen, that is the exact thing that came out. People were like, holy shit. This guy came in, has no idea what he's talking about. He can't talk. He can't... Look, if you have German people at a German club complaining about his inability to motivate and connect with people, do you realize how bad that is? You realize how bad it is when one of the most, mechanical, cultural approach people can't stand the way that someone communicates and think he cannot communicate effectively and motivate them. When Germans can't take it, I think that tells you all you need to know about it. And it's not because he's Dutch. The guy we've got, our friend Bear in one of the moderators from the Discord and all that. He told us before we hired him. He said it. He said it's not. He's Dutch too, by the way. This guy, he's Dutch, and he knows him. He knows the Dutch league, and he knows of Ten Hag and all of that very well. And he said it's not because he's Dutch. Even in Dutch, Ten Hag's communication is very, very weird, very, 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 very weird, and very hard to deal with. And it is what it is, man. I mean. He can't communicate to anybody. He's just, it's, I'm not going hard on Germans. I'm saying culturally, Germans tend to be fine with sort of matter-of-fact, straight communication in my experience with German people. They don't dress things up too much, you know what I mean? They don't need necessarily flowery language or, they don't need it to be super passionate. It can be very matter-of-fact and frank from a cultural standpoint. If they're bothered by it, then it's really bad. Then it's really, really bad. But no, a reason it cheers me up, reason it makes me happy is just I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. You know, I spent a long time saying, listen, this guy is ruining the dressing room, you know, and why is it relevant? Why is it relevant? Because we're still dealing with it today. We're still dealing with it today. Okay? It is still one of the biggest reasons that this team doesn't get on. This team doesn't get on. You know, this brings me to my next point as I found a way to segue into another topic. This brings me to my next point. Which is that, you know, I was having some discussions, let's say, with some people briefly on Twitter. Ronaldo was right. Yeah. I was having some discussions briefly with some people on Twitter about this, and I was saying, like, basically the basis of my argument is that there's not enough understanding of how, yes, actually, though people don't like to believe it, people don't like to see it, people don't like to talk about it, and some people choose to ignore it in full, there is a lack of understanding of the effect that people being human beings, having personalities, flaws, all of that, there is a lack of that and how that affects games. And I was talking about Grimsby. Yeah, I see Kolomuani to Spurs is done. Another very Spurs signing. Good luck for them. I don't think that's what they need, but good luck to him and them. We didn't lose. It's about this basic point of, like, if you're thinking we lost to Grimsby because of tactics, I apologize in advance if I come across insulting in this, but you are clueless. Too much about football, people think, is purely just tactics. They think that you can manage it like it's Football Manager, or like you can do it on a piece of paper or a spreadsheet or something like that, when so much of it comes down to the character, the connection between the individuals, the motivation. Because what you're really talking about every time a game begins is 11 individuals. No. The Brighton manager confirmed it, because I was making this big argument before that, and then he comes out and says, tactics ain't everything in football. And he's absolutely right. People, we get these swings. We had this swing like 10 years ago. It was all like passion, desire, you know, run. That was everything. That was all anybody would speak about. You'd say, people don't run enough. People just don't run enough. And then it flips the other way. And now the meta of discussion is it's all tactics. It's all tactics. It's all tactics. It's just tactics. It's just tactics. It's not. The truth's always been in the middle. The truth has always been in the middle. It's always been a good tactical plan and the ability, everything else.
Unpopular opinion, I back Tom Oream until now, but any manager who thinks Bruno can stay central in a two-man midfield and not buy a mid is a moron.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out over the season. We'll see how that plays over the season, Greg. I've got my concerns, but we will see. You know, these things all matter. It's like every player talks about players' effort, work rate. Because the fact is you have 11 players. And people will go, you mean 11? You mean they just didn't try for no reason? Well, yeah, sometimes, yeah. You wake up in the morning, and every single day, you don't feel the same every single day. You don't feel the same every single day. You know, you just don't. You don't have the same motivation every single day. In fact, Ruben even called it out with Ahmad, didn't he? He said, I love Ahmad when he does his best or something, right? He made it very, very clear he was that with Ahmad, he felt on Wednesday, essentially, he sacked it off from an effort and focus wise. It's not always 100% on purpose. It's not always something you can control. And it's never an exact thing. But no, players do not walk into every single game. Do not walk into every single game 100% focused always. You don't necessarily know why. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. This is why football isn't played on paper. It isn't. And it isn't played on a spreadsheet, and it isn't played on the tactics board. It's not everything. If it was, Pep Guardiola wouldn't be losing to Brighton. Pep Guardiola wouldn't be losing to Tottenham. There are other factors at play here. There always are. There's a mixture. They're not robots. When they step on the pitch, they're not robots. They have to get on with each other. It's like every single player will always tell you that it's on them and that they didn't do good enough when they stepped on that pitch. Every single one. For years, Madrid have certainly not been at the top of tactics for probably the majority of their time when you look at it tactically. What do they have? A great culture and the best players. And that's why they win Champions Leagues. They've never been the best tactical team, probably ever, frankly. They just haven't. Quality plus effort plus focus plus connection. You have to, what a coach's biggest job is, frankly, where they affect the game the most, and this is still why it's up to them. But it doesn't mean it's tactics, is their ability to get the players connected to each other, understand each other, focused with each other, and work together. That's why Ten Hag was sacked. That's why Ten Hag was just sacked by Leverkusen, because people know this. It is about how you get the players to work together. Can you communicate to them effectively? Can you get them to understand what you want them to do? And can you get them to execute it time and time again? That's what made Jurgen Klopp such a good manager for Liverpool. That's what he did there, is made a culture of players who got on together and worked together and fought every single second of the game. It's life. It's life. Pep used to say the coach's job is to get the team from box to box. Sure, there's that too. It's life, man. It is always life. And it is, tactics are part of it, but they're not even close to everything. Not even close to everything. Not even close. They're not even 50% of the game. Not even slightly. The biggest measure is this. The biggest factor in whether a team is successful is always going to be, number one, player quality. Number two, the correct balance of player quality. Do you have players who are signed where their qualities are complementary to each other? That is strategy. That is looking at how you build a team together where their strengths complement other strengths and their weaknesses cover up other weaknesses. Those are always going to be the two most important things. Do you build a squad of high quality? Why does the best team always win? 9 times out of 10, the team with the best quality wins, not the team with the best tactics. 9 times out of 10. Okay? 9 times out of 10, it is going to be player quality that affects things. That's just what's going to happen. 9 times out of 10. But at the same time, squad building is more important than either. You have to get the best players that have complementary strengths and that cover up each other's weaknesses. For example, if you have a team that maybe isn't the best at clearing the ball out of the box, you'd hope to have a keeper who's a little bit commanding in the box. Otherwise, you're going to fail. If you have a team that wants to carry a high line and you have a keeper who's stuck to their line, you're going to fail. Keepers, it's kind of easy to see. If you have forwards who only play on the break, and you have nobody who can hit a long ball, guess what? You're going to fail. You got to have complementary strengths. Where United have failed for such a long time is, and this is also the fault of managers because they're part of this job. They have to evaluate the players that are on the pitch, evaluate their strengths, evaluate their weaknesses, figure out how they want to play with the club, and then recruit the right players who they feel can complement each other and the strategy that's at hand. That's what United have failed at. They failed at it with every single manager, and they failed at it continuously, of not building a team of complementary strengths, of building a team that has too many weaknesses that are not covered up by others. There's plenty. Everybody's got weaknesses. Every single team, every player has weaknesses and strengths, but are they covered up by the guy next to them is the question. And then the manager's job is to motivate them, to get them to understand what he wants, to get them to understand what he wants them to do. That's about communication, because the only thing they can carry out on the pitch tactically is what they understand from the manager. So the manager's tactics are not always what you see. What you're seeing is his ability to communicate to the individuals on the pitch and get them to understand it and carry it out, but also to agree with it, because understanding is more than just listening. They have to agree with it. They've got to be able to conceptualize it. They have to see how it works on the pitch and all of that. There's a lot of things that need to happen for that to work. So yeah. So yeah, that's the truth of it. And then there's tactics. And sometimes you don't even know, because a lot of managers don't even get through to the players, frankly. They don't even get through to them to implement their tactics. That's what Ten Hag failed at massively. He could never even communicate to get through to the players to implement his tactics, and we're seeing that, and that's the problem he's had at Leverkusen. There's a lot of different layers to this before it. You can have the best tactics in the world, but tactics aren't everything. Even with coaches, they're strong at different points. Some are excellent team builders. Some are excellent motivators. Some are excellent tacticians. I've yet to see a tactician win anything with a poorly constructed team. But I've definitely seen well-constructed teams, managers who know how to construct teams well, win without being top tacticians. I think you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with that in terms of any examples that you can give. I've never seen a tactician win with a poorly built team, ever. Anything significant, maybe a few games here or there, they outsmart somebody, but I've never seen it. A top-class tactician win things with a poorly constructed team. Mourinho, I wouldn't say his are poorly constructed, though. I think they're constructed pretty much purely fit for purpose, right? Like, probably like really good for what he wants. He's the closest, though, in terms of overachieving. But then you have to factor in his management and motivational tactics in all of those things as well. Mourinho was probably the best motivator in the world at that point in time. But that might be closest. Might be closest. Construction of a team is part of tactics. To a degree. Yeah, it wasn't famous, but it was well put together for his strategy. It wasn't the highest quality, but it was well constructed, I would say. Construction is part of the tactics, sure, but not part of the tactics in terms of how it's usually analyzed. It's part of the big picture tactics, and usually in alignment with, of course, it needs to be in alignment with the club. But yeah, that's something we've gotten wrong for a long, long time. But yeah, tactics ain't everything. The the individuals on the pitch, how they play, how they show up on a daily basis, whether they're focused or not will always determine everything. It's kind of like when you take the Bruno situation in Fulham. How can you look at that game and say,
Ole, rude, nourishing, ETH, Carrick, all sacked. Meanwhile, we still have Fletcher coaching. Pays to have never coached at United.
That's true. Well, he's got his youth job now. The Fulham game, you look at it, Bruno was clearly off. He was clearly off his, he was clearly off his head that game, and it affected our performance. How can you say it didn't? He missed a penalty. There's times when it's really obvious, and there's times when it's less obvious, but it happens. In terms of Lammens being at Carrington, he should be. I mean, his flight arrived, didn't it? We've all seen his flight. It's not a surprise, is it? I mean, his flight is I think it's what? Anyway, his flight arrived. His flight arrived 20 minutes ago. So he should be there. He should be ready to go, doing his medical now. Hey, I haven't even mentioned Amarim. All I'm saying is that tactics are overrated. They're not important, but they are overrated. That's all. That's the thing. Like, it does. It's like it's overrated. Like, you don't lose to a fourth tier side because of tactics. That's the truth of the matter. And like I said, when had the slight argument because they were like, well, this tactic can beat relegation teams. Well, if it can beat relegation teams, and you're not going to give credit for beating relegation teams, well. If it can beat relegation teams, it can beat a fourth-tier team. Then the tactics aren't the issue. It's just, especially when you factor in 2 goalkeeping errors at the same time. Like, what the hell else can you do? You know what I mean? But regardless, the ex-managers for United have been struggling, huh? They've been struggling. They've been struggling. When life gives you lemons. Yes, so his flight landed at 12:06, so, I mean, you may not exactly be at Carrington. He doesn't have to complete the medical, guys. We're fine. The deadline is sort of unimportant. The documents just have to be submitted by 7 p.m. We don't have to have, like, everything done and completed at that moment in time. Victor Lindelof being announced for Aston Villa. Now they have 2 Lindelofs, Pau Torres and Lindelof. I think Mr. Luckhurst is just trying to be first, because unless he made it from the airport in 6 minutes, I don't know how far away Carrington is from the airport, but 6 minutes from landing seems pretty quick. Because that was definitely him on that plane. That was definitely him on that plane. I think someone's just trying to be first. 6 minutes is yeah. Oh, it's an hour and 6. Well, then that's okay. If it was an hour and 6, then he's there. That makes sense. Okay. I thought he said he landed 6 minutes ago. It's been an hour. I've already been live for an hour. Yeah, it's early. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. Then he's there. Yeah, then he's fine. Then he's definitely there. He's been there for a bit now. He's been there for about 30 minutes now. Yeah. No. It's all good. It's all good. Like I say, it's 6:13 in the morning. So, do you think Lammens starts versus City, or are we stuck with Bayindir? I think he'll start. 6 minutes is a long time. So my wife tells me it's like I don't know. Is that like a double insult? I don't know. What do you guys rate it? Let's say it ends now. Let me poll. I'm gonna poll this. I'm quite curious. If it were to end now with Lammens in, let's poll it. I'm curious. How bad did it end with Garnacho? Bad. Bad. Oh, we try for a mid on loan, maybe Conor Gallagher. Yeah, it would be nice. I would take it. I would take it. Like I said, I look at it in two different contexts. You know what I mean? Like, on its own, I think it's a very, very good window. When you contextualize how much we need because our team's been built so poorly for years, obviously, like, it's a little low. Like, if you're saying we need to finish the team this year, well, then sure, you can't give it a 10. You know what I mean? But on its own, I think it's a very, very good window. Especially, I've got to factor in the outs. In that it gives us, it gives us room to breathe in the future as well, which is the important part to me too. I would say I would put it at an 8.5, but we've lost points because of the keeper, because they delayed the keeper. So I'm personally, I have it between a 7 and an 8 right now. And this being a premature rating, you know what I mean? It's premature rating because we've got to see some of these players perform. But I'm already certain Cunha and Mbeumo are going to be successes. I'm certain that Lammens won't be worse than Onana, and we'll see where Šeško ends up. I've got hopes. In different areas, I've got hopes. So Fabrizio says we didn't proceed with Emi Martinez because we couldn't convince Sancho to agree. So, like, this is the thing. We actually had an agreement with Villa for Emi Martinez. When I heard yesterday that it was more likely, we actually had a deal with Villa. We had a deal done. But Sancho scuppered it, essentially. Now, I think we were still hoping to get Lammens done, but yeah. We were actually hoping to get it done. We did. But we did, I believe, have a deal with Aston Villa done. Wouldn't be the first time. But to be clear, we still wanted to make sure that we get the Sancho deal is going ahead as a loan. But we wanted to swap, but it would have required Sancho to agree permanently for a deal. No. It's okay, guys. Look, there was a point yesterday. No. Let me clarify this. There was a point yesterday where we were trying to get a deal done for the Sancho deal on a permanent to Aston Villa, okay? A permanent to Aston Villa. He didn't want to accept a permanent deal, so we ended up with a loan, which they're not mad about it. Listen to me. They're not mad about it. It's not an issue. They accepted the loan. It was all done of accord, you know. It's all on accord. The issue for them and us was was Sancho. It was Sancho. So they're not like mad at us. It hasn't like, we don't have any issue here. We don't have any issue here with Villa. But it was, we actually had a deal for Emi Martinez essentially lined up. But I think we were still hoping Lammens would come through. So yeah, the thing with Sancho has been that all summer he has not wanted to accept anything that results in a permanent move because he's looking for a to depart as a free agent. Was Lammens just wanting playing time guaranteed? That's what I heard. That's what I heard. You know, I kept like I said on Saturday and beforehand. That like I said on Saturday beforehand, that I still heard there was some hang-ups on the personal terms. And I believe it was down to wanting maybe a little bit more assurances. So I think he's going to come straight in as number one. But it's an interesting one here. But realize we didn't want to pay the big fee for Emi Martinez. We didn't want to pay the big fee, so hence we were hoping to swap the Sancho thing because we didn't want to pay the big fee, but we worked out a good deal, I think, with Aston Villa that I think both clubs would have accepted. But because Sancho didn't, it essentially didn't get off the ground, which is fine. Lammens, can you guarantee our playing time? You know, have you seen her? I know. Still, though, you know, there's always weird things. Why would we activate the +1 on Sancho? Like, I've seen that mentioned a few times. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Why would we? Why would we activate the 1-year extension for him? All right, so on the polling, you guys are between 8 and 9 and 6 and 7. So 7.5. That's where I ended up too. That's the number, 7.5. But why would we activate the +1 on Sancho? There's basically no reason to do that. It's an 18 million cost to us. The only thing it could do for us today is, so we still owe, just to explain amortization. Sorry, I'm tired. We still owe on him, let's see, times 11. I guess, no, divided by 11 times 10. We still owe 12 million on his contract. If we extend, whoa.